was Dakota's debut match, and her opponent confidently claimed she would defeat her.
It's real good.
So what do you think's next for you? Anyone on your mind or anything on your mind?
Anything really, anything. I always say whatever comes my way, I just say yes. I mean, yes.
What's the end goal?
The end goal is to just be the best at what I can do. Yeah, wherever that may be, just be the best.
And I'm just going to watch the fighters basically fight their first round of the tournament, which I'm excited to be here and not be fighting. You know, it's not often that I go to shows where I'm not weight cutting and getting in the cage myself, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's one fight still left to do in my division, which we'll be fighting tomorrow night, so I'm excited to see the two girls battle it out.
What she didn't realize was that she was stepping into the cage with the future undefeated champion.
In the clinch from Dakota there.
Yeah, Dakota just spinning back elbow just missed, and this is the thing, and another, and a knee,
straight across,
and another elbow, and another.
That's opened up a cut on Ison's head. Big back elbow.
No quitting Isom at all.
You are watching Boxing Planet, and in this video, we'll talk about one of Dakota Ditcheva's debut matches against Carrie Isom. Carrie Isom came in full of confidence, convinced she would win with ease. What she didn't know was that this was the start of something special, Dakota's very first professional MMA fight. The bout took place at Celtic Gladiator 30 on September 12th, 2021, and it quickly became clear that Dakota was no ordinary newcomer. With sharp skills, controlled aggression, and a champion's mindset already visible, she left no doubt that she was destined for greatness in the cage. Round 1. The opening bell rang, and both fighters stepped out from their corners with laser focus. Carrie Isom began bouncing lightly on her toes, eyes scanning for the right angle to land her shots. Dakota Ditcheva, calm and composed, moved with calculated footwork, her guard high and her gaze locked on her opponent. There was no rush in her approach. Every step forward felt deliberate, like she was already setting traps. The first exchange came quickly. Carrie flicked out a probing jab to measure distance, but Dakota slipped just enough to avoid the shot and answered with a crisp right hand down the middle. The punch didn't land with full force, but it was sharp enough to get Carrie's attention. The crowd reacted, sensing the skill and precision in Dakota's timing. They circled, both fighters testing each other with feints and light kicks. Carrie tried to mix things up with a looping overhand right, but Dakota leaned back and countered with a quick combination, a jab, cross, and a low kick that smacked against Carrie's lead leg. 1 minute in, Dakota started to build momentum. She began doubling up her jab, forcing Carrie backward. Every time Carrie tried to plant her feet and fire back, Dakota would step off at an angle, making her miss before punishing her with counters. The precision was clear, and so was the confidence. Dakota's strikes weren't wild, they were patient, accurate, and purposeful. By the midway point of the round, Carrie was already showing signs of discomfort. Dakota had chopped at her leg, snapped her head back with straight punches, and landed a body shot that made her opponent take a subtle step away. Carrie's attempts to push forward were cut short by Dakota's sharp footwork and quick defensive reactions. Sensing an opportunity, Dakota began applying heavier pressure. She moved in behind her jab, pushing Carrie toward the cage. Carrie tried to circle out, but Dakota cut her off with a blistering three-punch combination that forced Carrie to cover up. The sound of the shots landing drew loud cheers from the crowd, the pace now shifting entirely in Dakota's favor. With less than a minute to go in the round, Dakota unleashed her most aggressive sequence yet. A hard right hand stunned Carrie, followed immediately by a left hook that forced her to stumble back into the fence. Dakota closed the distance in an instant, swarming with short, accurate punches and a knee to the body. Carrie tried to clinch to slow the assault, but Dakota broke free and went right back to work. The intensity in those final seconds was overwhelming. Dakota kept her strikes tight and relentless, targeting both the head and body. Carrie's guard was high, but too many shots were slipping through. The referee moved in closer, watching carefully as Dakota poured on the offense. Then came the decisive moment. With just 11 seconds left in the round, Dakota landed a clean right hand, followed by a flurry that left Carrie unable to effectively defend herself. The referee had seen enough and stepped in to stop the fight at 4:49 of the first round. The crowd erupted as Dakota raised her hands in victory, her professional MMA debut ending in dominant fashion. What started as a test against a confident opponent became a clear statement. Dakota Ditcheva was here to make waves, and this performance was just the beginning of her undefeated journey.
Click below to subscribe and watch more MMA content.
Now, let's take a look at Dakota's other fights and how she continued to dominate every opponent who stood in her way. We will talk about the thrilling fight between Dakota Ditcheva and Shauna Bannon. Shauna Bannon, an Irish fighter from Dublin, came into the bout with a solid reputation and fierce determination. Known for her striking skills and relentless pace, she was confident that she could handle Dakota inside the cage. This bout took place on February 29, 2020, at UK Fighting Championships. It was an amateur women's flyweight title fight, and both fighters came in hungry for victory, but only one would walk out as champion. From the opening bell, the fight began with both fighters feeling each other out, as is typical in the first moments of a contest. Ditcheva, however, quickly established her striking dominance. Using her superior footwork, she controlled the distance, staying just out of Bannon's reach while landing clean, sharp strikes. Ditcheva's jab was particularly effective, repeatedly finding its mark and snapping Bannon's head back. She used angles to avoid Bannon's return fire, showcasing a level of composure and technical skill that stood out in an amateur setting. As the round progressed, Ditcheva added powerful kicks to her repertoire, targeting Bannon's body and legs. These strikes, delivered with the kind of thudding impact one would expect from a seasoned striker, visibly began to affect Bannon's movement and breathing. Bannon, to her credit, continued to press forward, attempting to close the distance and turn the fight into a more chaotic, close-quarters brawl where she might have an advantage. She threw heavy overhand rights, but Ditcheva's defensive head movement and footwork allowed her to slip most of the blows. The fight's turning point came late in the first round. Bannon, frustrated by her inability to land clean shots and eager to turn the tide, engaged in a clinch against the cage. In the midst of this close-range exchange, and in the heat of the moment, Bannon threw a series of punches. The illegal strikes, blows that landed to the back of Ditcheva's head, were immediately recognized by the referee, who stepped in to stop the action. Ditcheva was clearly affected by the illegal strikes, dropping to her knees in pain. The referee paused the contest to assess the situation. After a consultation with the ringside officials and a check from the doctor, the decision was made to end the fight. At the 4-minute and 35-second mark of the first round, Shauna Bannon was disqualified for the illegal blows. The victory was awarded to Dakota Ditcheva. The outcome, while decisive, was undeniably anticlimactic. Ditcheva was in complete control of the fight up to that point, outclassing Bannon with her technical striking and ring control. The disqualification cemented her win, but deprived both fighters of the opportunity to finish the contest in a more definitive manner. For Ditcheva, it was a victory that showcased her potential, but left a sense of what if? Had the fight continued, many believe she would have secured a more conventional and dominant finish. For Bannon, it was a tough lesson in the unforgiving nature of MMA rules, where a single mistake, even if unintentional, can result in a loss and a forfeited title opportunity. The fight served as a significant moment for both women's careers. It highlighted Ditcheva's exceptional talent, setting the stage for her to continue her undefeated amateur run and eventually turn professional, where she has since become a top prospect. For Bannon, the loss was a setback, but her courage in the face of a superior striker and her continued aggression showed her fighting spirit, a quality she would carry with her into her own successful professional career. Dakota Ditcheva's professional debut against Carrie Isom was more than just a win. It was a statement to the MMA world. In under 5 minutes, she showed precision, composure, and the kind of finishing instinct that sets future champions apart. This was the fight that lit the spark for her undefeated run, and fans knew they had just witnessed the beginning of something special. If you enjoyed watching Dakota's explosive debut and want to see more incredible moments from her career, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.
What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God.